I'm just as happy as I was when I was behind the camera carrying the tripod up Masada. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, however I can be a part of the equation. So I was just happy to be there, right? And so as this now is like setting in, like I'm locked out. I have no way to get back in my room. I have no play here. There's nothing I can do. I realize I'm gonna have to go down to the front desk and get a new key card. And so I just decided if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it with confidence. And it was a nice hotel, man. And so I get in the elevator. I'm just like trying to like think I can. I think I can. The door's open. There's like the maitre d' at the concierge desk. It's 2 a.m. and they're just all like, "What is going on here?" And I just come strolling out in my giraffe boxers, and too much information, I'm sure. And I just walk up and I say, "I seem to have been locked out of room 1202. Gonna need a new key card, please." You pretended to be someone that you weren't, so you could walk in what was never. Was always what God was going to give to you in the first place. And so here he is. He's in a place, this says he was in a certain place. It wasn't even a place with a name. It had no name because it was nowhere. And there, the foot catcher met the foot washer. And everything changed. His name would change. His possessions would change. He was by himself. His family would change. By the time we get to the end of Jacob's story, just imagine him. He's a man on the run. He has nothing. He has no one. He doesn't have a penny to his name. He's not even in a place with a name. Down. Put it in the chat. Amazed. I woke up amazed. He was terrified. Now he's amazed. I was horrified. Now I'm astonished, he said. Because I thought I was alone, but then I found out I wasn't. In the same place that didn't even get a name, a certain place, a scary place, a terrible place. Guess what? It's the house of God now. Because the house of God is wherever you are. Wherever Jesus is where you are. And it's the house of God. You're the house of God. Well, we don't get to go to church. Oh, well, psych, we are the church. LOL. Wherever we are is where the church is. We gather together in the mighty, matchless name of Jesus. This is church. This is how the world gets changed. We are linked up in this moment. And so he's amazed. He's amazed because God essentially let him see how heaven works. The key is in the phrase, "This is the gate of heaven," which you will recognize, you students of the Bible, from Genesis, the fifth gospel. The fifth gospel, because you can't just get his gospel story from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You got to get near this body of water to get his whole story. I mean, 18 out of 33 miracles Jesus performed took place on this lake. We went there a little bit last week. We're gonna go back there in just a minute. We're gonna return to the scene of the crime, Luke chapter 5, the room where it happened. But of all the boat stories in the Bible, surely there was something that involved supplements. I bet you essential oils were involved. Like, what did you do, Jacob? How did you change? And he would just look at you with a smile and a twinkle in his eye and go, "I woke up like this. I didn't do anything. It wasn't what I did. It was who I met. It was an encounter I had. I woke up like this. I am not responsible for the change in my situation or circumstance. I woke up like this. All I know is I was blind. Now I see. I was dead. Now I'm alive. I was hopeless. Now I have hope. I was a narcissist. Now I was a foot catcher trying to pull other people back to pull myself ahead, but I met the foot washer. I had a revelation. I met Jesus. The heavens opened up. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't seeking him. It wasn't my decision. He pursued
and so we're getting ready for that time of thousands of us around the world, not just those who are near Charlotte or one of our locations, but around the world are preparing to give to our 2020 favor offering for the year end, for our expansion and outreach. I want to thank those of you who are already tithing and showing God that you know that he's where your help comes from. And so many of you do that regularly. Thank you. So many will begin to do that this time of year, to trust God in a new way. Many are giving an above and beyond gift, and you can find all of that out on elevationchurch.org. But the good news is, whether you ever give or not, we're going to be here for you. We're going to be here so you can be lifted up. If you never give a dime, if you never even pray for me, if you don't even like me, I'm going to be here preaching.
Whenever I tell the stories of Israel, I always say the first time I went to Israel, And Jenny's always like, how many times have you been? I'm like, just once, but it sounds cooler when you say the first time I went to Israel, as though there were like 23 repeat visits, right? But the first time I went to Israel, I was so excited to the next morning go see where Joppa took place, where Peter got this vision, where Jonah ran away from God. I was going to go to Joppa tomorrow. It was one of the great boat stories in the Bible, right? And we were staying at this hotel in Tel Aviv. And a little bit about me, when I was a kid, I used to sleepwalk like crazy. Where are my sleepwalking friends at? Just crazy things done in the night. Thank God it has chilled out for me. Unfortunately, now I just like wake up at 3 panicked. So I don't know if it's better or worse than sleepwalking, but when I was a kid, my mom like would find me like all around the house. Like she'd have to like redirect me back to bed. I feel so bad for her. One time he's looking over all of his flocks divided into 2 camps, and he's marveling at the goodness, grace of God. And he's saying, I've become 2 companies. I've got 12 sons, Reuben, Issachar, Naphtali, Gad, Simeon, Benjamin, Asher, Levi, Dan, Joseph, Judah, Zebulun. I'm going to be used to bring the Messiah into the world. I'm going to be used to establish a glorious kingdom that God might save people all over the world, to the north, to the east, to the south, to the west. And even in this moment, we are today walking in the fulfillment of that prophecy. As Elevation Church broadcasts this gospel of hope and this message of love and peace, as the worship songs alter the atmosphere for people who are struggling to not take their lives in the midst of one of the most hopeless times, divided times, pain-filled times in human history, here is Jesus building his church, and not even the gates of hell can prevail against it.
A few things, I can't say them all, but that includes over 600,000 meals, over 30,000 volunteers serving over 58,000 hours with over 300 organizations, over $500,000 to disaster relief efforts, $150,000 of flood supplies, over $1 million in support when COVID hit, 250,000 pounds of food, pop-up field hospitals in Central Park, New York. We gave 500,000 tablets to inmates. This year, when the global pandemic became real to us, we started to wonder, what will happen to ministry? And on one hand, you have faith, but you also have fear, because you know there's this aspect in which we've never lived through this before. I'm happy to report to you, as we come toward the end of 2020, that by the favor of God, somebody shout favor, put favor.